Hi and welcome to API video. In this video, we're gonna have a look at API and what is it and why it's so important to today's web. So basically, API stands for Application Programming Interface, and it allows you to do something amazing. So before we start talking about what is API specifically, let's go through an example. Let's say that this is the Facebook's infrastructure, Facebook's database. So this cylinder here is the Facebook's database with all the users' information and information that users post, all the images, everything that Facebook owns and their data centers and their code, everything that defines Facebook. So if it was 10 years ago, people would go to Facebook's website and they could access Facebook's functionality through the Facebook's web application, or maybe through their app if it was still based on that previous architecture. But there is one huge problem with this, or with the Twitter's or Google's kind of approach towards the matter, just by allowing the users accessing their services through their own products. Let's go through an example. Let's say that I'm going to build my own app. I'm going to call it my app, and I'm going to give it some functionalities that usually these like apps these days have. Let's say that I'm going to give it some share functionality, maybe even the Facebook login or Google login, whatever you think that is possible with apps these days. The big problem is that if I want to employ any of these big names features into my own app, or even if I want to connect my own app to a server, which we're going to talk about in the future videos, the problem is that I can't really access these services via their web app or mobile app. That's an issue. If there is no way for me to connect to these services directly and exchange information, then basically I would not be able to use their services and information in my own custom app. So basically that's what API allows us to do. And the API opens an interface that I can connect to via my app, and I can use that particular company's services in my own app by just coding those services and that API into my own app, and use their billion-dollar infrastructure and bring more services to my users. Of course, you can have your own API on your server, as I mentioned before. If your app uses a backend server which provides the app with the content and user management, then you need to build an API for your own backend servers. But basically, if you want to access any service outside of your own app's code, then you need to use an API, kind of a standard API to use those services. Each of these services that you see these days, they have their own kind of API that you can use in your app. And the good thing is that it's crazy what you can use in your app, basically for free. Sometimes you need to pay some money to use these APIs, but majority of times they're free. Sometimes there are some limitations on the use of API, so you won't go and overuse the API and overuse the service, but you get the idea. You would be able to kind of boost your app's functionality using these billion-dollar services in your app just by adding a couple of lines of code. So it's a great way for today's web to kind of connect different services with each other and bring more functionality to people. Another example would be in the web kind of area, Facebook comments. That's basically kind of accessing the Facebook's functionality through an API. So hope you get the idea. It's a very simple and basic idea, and a very valuable way to increase your app's functionality, whether we're talking about a mobile app or a web app, or basically employing these services in your own applications and making a good use out of them. Sometimes you can combine these different services together and come up with different new functionalities, which is going to solve a new problem. That's actually a very good idea to build new apps on. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and leave a comment if you want. Thanks for watching. Humans here, and I'll see you later.